Welcome to Arizona Side-by-Side Project. I'm Jeff Forty, and today we're going to be taking a look at sway bars. Is it better for you to remove the front sway bar, the rear sway bar, or both? So let's dive into it and see what we find out. So for this first test, we're going to leave the sway bar on and leave everything stock, the rear one on too. And I think the best way to maybe test this is I'm going to put a jack under the front tire, and we're going to jack the car up as far as it will go until one of the tires comes off the ground, and then we'll take a measurement of that, and we'll use that as our baseline for all the other adjustments. Okay, lifted it up with the stock sway bar on. You can see that front tire is just off the ground. So let's go ahead and measure how much ground clearance we have. Measuring it here, I'm seeing about 13.5 inches of ground clearance with the measurement. Front sway bar is off, fully disconnected on both sides. You can already see quite a bit of difference. Tire is just left the ground. So let's go ahead and measure this tire again and see what measurement we get. Here's the tire again. We're right about 16 inches, I would say. All right, we have the rear sway bar completely disconnected, and you can see right away that it does look quite a bit different. The body definitely seems to have more tip to it, obviously, than having the front one off. Well, let's go check the back out. Here's the back. You can see we're getting full compression almost on one side and not on the other. Come in here so you guys can see there is a little bit of shock stroke left along with the bump stop. Okay, let's go ahead and measure and see what we have. With measuring here, looks like we have about 16 inches. Looks to be about the same 16 inches that we got with the sway bar being disconnected in the front. Okay, we have the front sway bar disconnected, and we also have the rear disconnected. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take a measurement and see how tall this tire is. Okay, kind of measuring off where we were before. We're getting right about 18 or so inches. So we're gonna leave it with both sway bars off, and I'm gonna go take it for a ride and see how it handles articulating, and then also some high-speed like maneuvers, see how it handles on that also. I'm gonna leave everything on soft and use that as kind of a baseline going through all the different settings and give my honest opinion about how it feels. So I just got back from testing out all the different variations of the sway bars off. While I had the front sway bar off, I did test the shock clickers on the second setting just to see if it could get rid of some of the body roll, improve the ride quality, because I know I had this front sway bar off before, and a lot of you guys are running that way too, and notice a huge improvement over your stock springs. But I gotta say, after driving around for a while on it and just hitting the desert hard, that I'm almost liking the sway bar on, just because there's a couple suspension slaps that I noticed with the sway bar off when driving pretty hard that weren't there with the sway bar. And notice I got a lot of obviously body roll into corners, which was causing the back to kick out quite a bit, but it wasn't something that you couldn't maintain. So at high speeds, it was definitely not quite where I wanted it to be, but at slow speeds, I could definitely notice maybe a little bit softer ride, just because the wheels can move independently of each other. But I gotta say, guys at Shock Therapy, Mitch, you guys did a fantastic job on this dual rate kit. I have to say, I was really impressed that getting 13 inches of travel out of it with the sway bar was kind of impressive. I think before it was like 8 inches or something like that, which, we went up quite a bit just from that. So that was pretty impressive. But you notice it when you're driving out in the desert or going fast or even going slow, that it's still soft, and it's still a great ride with this Shock Therapy setup. For you guys running the stock setup, it definitely runs a lot better with the front sway bar off. I would say, comparing the front sway bar off versus having the front sway bar on and the rear off, that the rear one being off, you do feel like you have more control, obviously with the front sway bar on. But in hard corners, I noticed that the rear, you could really feel it twisting sideways, and it gave you kind of a scary feeling like you could tip if you took a corner too hard. So I wasn't liking that too much. Definitely like the front one off, because when you start to dip, you know you're dipping and you can slow down and adjust for it. But I would say, if you're running the stock setup, probably take off the front sway bar and go with that for most of your riding. It's a safety thing for you guys. If you think that this is gonna cause you to be unsafe on the road, please don't take it off. This is just my thoughts on what I found with riding with my machine. So definitely don't do it if you don't feel like it's going to be safe for you and your family. So I would definitely say, with the Shock Therapy setup, keep the sway bars on. It rides great. Getting that 13 inches. It doesn't seem to make too much of a difference between the rear and the front. We were both getting 13 inches of articulation, so that's pretty cool. But we got 16 inches when we took the front and the rear off, which I expected to be the case. And it rode really smooth, really awesome, but it was squirrely, to say the least. I had to go super slow into corners out in the desert, and then on the road, it just seemed like it was out of control. So that's a no-go for me, in my opinion. Maybe if you were doing some slow crawling over rocks and stuff, that would be the case, but I do mixed riding, so I need something that's going to handle everything. So there you guys have it. I would say, with the Shock Therapy setup, both bars on, rides like a dream. If you're doing the stock setup, maybe take off the front one and mess around with the preloads at that point, just to kind of get you in that area that's really comfortable still. But that's what I found so far with the sway bars. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and like the video if you're interested in seeing more like this, and giving me feedback on these videos that I'm making. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.